Hi everyone, I'm Susan Mulvihill and welcome back to my vegetable garden. And look, there's no snow on the ground for most of the area, so I'm really excited. Now when you read my March 18th column, I hope you'll get a chuckle out of it because I wrote about the competitive gardening that's going on between my husband and myself. Now I don't want you to worry, we are perfectly happy. However, he is trying to usurp some of my space in the garden and I just don't know if I approve of that. As I mentioned in my column, I'm a garden writer. I need to experiment with things and test things, and so I want as much space as possible. And that Bill is trying to use some of the garden for his stuff. I just don't know. So I wanted to give you a tour today of what the vegetable garden is like, different areas of it, so you can get kind of the lay of the land. So let's start with that. As I've mentioned in past videos, I am absolutely crazy about raised bed gardening. It is so easy to grow a very productive garden in a raised bed. Well, we love them so much, we have 26 of them. And 21 of them are 3 feet wide by 8 feet long. This has been a really nice size for us. Each bed has its own drip irrigation system with a valve controlling the amount of water to each bed. And the watering system is on a timer, which is a huge time saver for me. Now I wanted to point out what these white things are that are attached to the outsides of all of our beds. The beds are 10 inches tall, and these are 10-inch tall lengths of PVC pipe that is 1 inch in diameter. Now we had a bunch of leftover black plastic sprinkler pipe that is a 1/2 inch in diameter, and so they slip into here. We have all of these hoops available for any beds any time of the year to either cover with bird netting, like for example we have a lot of birds in the garden and the birds love lettuce, so I keep them away that way. We also use it for floating row cover to give a few degrees of frost protection early in the spring or late in the season, or to act as a physical barrier to keep insects away from certain types of crops that have problems. It's not very many, but it's a great tool. Now in addition to these beds, we also have 2 3-foot wide by 16-foot long beds, and in those we grow raspberries. In this area of the garden we have 3 of our newest raised beds. They are 4 feet wide by 16 feet long. I love this size bed, and in them we grow corn, tomatoes, and winter squash. And what's great is I rotate where they grow every year. Now I mentioned bird netting on hoops on the other bed, and I wanted to show you, here's a perfect example of it. So here are a bunch of hoops. You maybe can't quite make out the bird netting, but this is to keep birds away from a winter pea cover crop that I have on this bed. And those cover crops will fix nitrogen in the soil. In this corner of the garden we're growing small fruits, blackberries, currants, and grapes. In this area we put in a bed that is specifically for asparagus, but we're also experimenting with growing some hardier varieties of figs. Very exciting. And you'll notice I have a small greenhouse. It is 6 feet wide by 8 feet long. It is unheated. And what I do is I start a lot of plants from seed indoors, and then I transition them out here until it's safe to plant them out in the garden. Now this is an important feature in our garden. This is the hoop house that my husband and I built a few years ago. And the main purpose was to be able to grow salad greens during the winter months. And guess what? It works really great. But we didn't want to have it idle during the summer months. And so in it we grew cucumbers, peppers, eggplants, and melons, and they all did really great. Now during the summer months it gets pretty warm in there, so we remove the 2 doors from the hoop house, and also to allow pollinators to come in and pollinate the flowers of these fruiting crops. The other thing is we built this so it's fairly lightweight, so we can move it around to different places in the garden as we rotate our crops. Well, I've saved my favorite part of our vegetable garden for last, and that is the arbor that we grow our pole beans on. This is a series of 4 individual trellises. It spans a pathway, which is really an underutilized area of the garden. The plants grow up and over the arbor, the beans hang down on the inside, and on the hottest of days when I'm harvesting them, I get to stand inside in the shade. How cool is that? Now, just like with the hoop house, we rotate our crops so these guys get moved throughout the garden as well. I hope you've enjoyed this little tour of our vegetable garden. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in a week.